Hello everybody, we are here with your Ne Zha guide. We'll be playing Ne Zha in the jungle. He is an assassin, so that is where he thrives. So we'll be getting a pretty standard little start here, Assassin's Blessing. Tier 1 mace, which we may or may not complete into an item first. We'll have to see how the game goes. A health pot, Hand of the Gods, and of course, our blink. On Ne Zha, you are a big, bursty boy with also a solid bit of setup in your kit as well. The ability we're going to get at level 1 is going to be Hour 1. This is also the ability that we max out first. This is Universal Ring Toss. This is going to bounce 4 times, up to 8 times as you level it up. Between targets, it's going to hit all those boys, kind of just like the Hun Match 3, except where you can keep getting more and more stacks. It is going to give the targets hit a physical protection debuff, so you'll hit them harder, as well as slow them. That slow will stack up to 2 times. Subsequent hits, though, on the same target with this ring toss will do 35% less damage. You also gain movement speed for each target hit. Talk about a bloated ability, am I right? Basically does everything you could possibly want. You slow them, you get faster, they've got protection debuffs, they're taking damage, all sorts of good stuff from this ability. We should also talk about Ne Zha's passive. You're going to see it building down there in the corner as we're playing this little lotus flower. Every time we use an ability, every time we auto attack, get involved in combat, you're going to see these numbers go up. These numbers are relevant for Ne Zha because of Hour 2. So your spirit is strengthened as you hit enemies with abilities base attacks. You gain 1 stack for smacking stuff. Your ring toss is giving you 1 per hit. All that good stuff. And with that, folks, it goes up to 20 maximum stacks. These are going to give you movement speed. So you gain plus 0.5 movement speed per stack. So if you watch down the bottom left-hand corner, you can see me getting faster and faster and faster, basically, as this continues to go off. But that is not the only thing that it does. It also interacts with your 2. So passively, it's going to give you more movement speed for having this built up. You do get 2 stacks off of a crit. Honestly, it's not that important. The really important part of this is that 1, having it built up is important for ganking. And 2, when you use your 2, this ability will heal you depending on how many stacks that you have. So your 2 is a stim. This is going to increase your attack speed and also give you crit chance. So it's going to give you attack speed, crit chance, and then you're going to get a 0.75% heal of your maximum HP per stack. So if you have this completely stacked up, you're actually going to get a really big heal from this. So a lot of the time, you're just going to be using this as kind of a generic attacking ability. But you can also use it for a heal. So right now, I'm pretty low. I'm going to wait until I get a little bit closer to the purple buff. Now I'm going to pop it. I'm going to get that bonus attack speed. Plus, I healed myself. So now I'm not worried about dying to the purple buff because I got that little heal. All good things.
Be right back.
Our third ability is our Sash. This is going to be our setup ability. It's going to allow us to get close to people for our ultimate. We throw out a Sash. It's a lot like Mulan 3, except for instead of bringing yourself halfway, you're just going to launch yourself all the way to the target. If you hit them, this doesn't interact with minions, anything, just interacts with gods. You'll yank yourself right over towards them, and they will be stunned for 1 second. This ability is mostly going to be used to get us close for an auto attack or to set up our ultimate. The ulti is a pretty small indicator. It's a long range, but it's pretty skinny. So a lot of the times you're just going to use your Sash to bring yourself right up onto somebody. It's going to stun them, and then you can follow up with your ultimate. So in our ultimate, you can see this indicator right here. You're going to launch yourself forward. You can use this as a movement ability in order to get away. You are CC immune during this. But most of the time, you're going to want to use it aggressive to try to set up a kill really well, paired with somebody like a Thoth or a Raw, somebody that's got a big ultimate to follow up. This is going to bring you and your enemy into the sky. It is essentially a banish. Think something like a Heimult. And then you're going to come down after a amount of time. It's like, what, 2.5 seconds? Even clarifying the ability, how long it is. You knock them skyward for 4 seconds, and then you come back down. While you are in the air, you're going to have a little Smite minigame. That Smite minigame is basically you trying to get crits off. So we go in the air. You want to click on your mouse when that little flower bar is full. So you got to see right there the standard use of ZHA ult. I go in, I do a little bit of damage. More importantly, it sets up the Ymir for an easy kill from the Thoth, who just throws down his entire ulti right on top of the location that I was. I'm going to ring toss off of these minions to give myself bonus movement speed, and also I'll make sure to get that guaranteed hit on the Agni, which is going to lead us to a kill. Much like other bouncing abilities in Smite, you don't always have to hit the juking god in order to get it on them. Sometimes it's a lot easier just to hit the minion that is not going to move, and that way you get the guaranteed hit. So I use those oracles to my advantage. I gain some bonus movement speed to help catch up. He gets slowed down, and I get that damage off no matter what. So to review that ulti one more time, you bring him up in the air, it'll do a little initial damage. You're wanting to click. When those little flowers get full, you just left click. You've got a little bit of time. You'll get used to it pretty fast, so I don't want you to worry about it. Once you use it a couple of times, you're going to be just fine and dandy. So we're going to get a couple of wards out here in the jungle. We're going to finish up our Warrior Tabi. The two boots that are viable on ZHA is going to be Warrior Tabi and Talaria boots. Those are your two options. Honestly, whatever your playstyle prefers, either will work. Some people want the Warrior Tabi for more straight up damage. Some people want the Talarias to make sure that they can get in range of their ulti, to make sure that they can get in range of their sash. Doesn't matter to me. Both are good options. Now you can see I am not going into that mace build right away. We've had a pretty strong start to this match. We're 0-0 and 3. We're getting good farm on. So I am going to go into a Transcendence. I want to get that Transcendence stacking as fast as humanly possible. You can hear Thoth channeling his ulti. I'm going to pop my 2 for a little bit of heal. I'm probably going to die here, but that's okay. We do get that Agni down and force a lot of ults. So I use my sash right there to get close to the Agni. Immediately follow up with the ultimate. And then you can hear Thoth channeling his ulti. He knows exactly when and where the Agni is going to come down, so he gets a nice, free, easy kill. And now our Thoth is 4-0. You don't want to be going against a 4-0 Thoth. Believe me, he's an incredibly strong mid laner right now. So because we are feeling confident in the jungle, I'm not going to fall behind. I don't have to have any immediate damage off right now. I'm working into that Transcendence. Transcendence is an amazing item on ZHA. It's going to give you so much power and mana. You won't have to worry about your mana anymore. And it's going to scale really well with the rest of our build, which is going to be going into crit. Because Transcendence gives you so much power, it's going to bring our crit up the wazoo. And it is going to delete people. This Neith does not have her backflip up. I know that because I just watched her use it. It's going to come up in just a moment. Unfortunately, not able to get that kill before she goes away. I got to be very careful right here. Got to watch out for a potential Neith ulti, so I'm actually not going to run into the jungle or do anything. She could be channeling that ulti right now, so I'm just going to back safely in lane where she definitely does not have a ward. So after we finish this Transcendence, then we're going to go back into our Mace tree. I want to get that Transcendence finished as fast as possible because I want to make sure I start getting it stacked so we can get that additional cooldown. I don't need anti-heal or anything this game, which means we'll take back around that mace. Probably just something into a Jotun's Wrath so we can get mad cooldown online, which is going to let us spam our ulti more and more and set up our Thoth. It's also going to give us a nice option for if we do start to get behind. It'll give us an option to become a little bit tankier later in the game if we need to, because we'll have all that CDR. We can kind of become an ult bot. Waiting for these minions to be here so I can guaranteed hit that Nike with my ring toss, which allows me to catch up to him and hit him with the sash. Utilize minions to your advantage when you're on a god that can use abilities off of them. No reason to aim an ability when you can hit off a minion that does not move. I'm going to pop my 2 right before I get over here. Hello, Agni. Good Ymir wall. Good Agni stun. Going to stop me from following up right there. Our priority on Nezha is going to be cooldown and crit. This is the type of build that we are going for. The reason why we like to build crit on Nezha is twofold. One, he has built-in crit in his kit, 15%. So naturally, us building a little bit more crit means we just have a higher crit chance, bada bing, bada boom, more crits. We love that. And 2, your ultimate is a crit. When you hit those little mini game clicks in your ultimate, that counts as a crit, which means that Deathbringer scales with your ultimate in order to make your ulti hit way harder. You're gonna start getting the real Nezha damage off once you get that Deathbringer online. Agni has already dashed. I'm gonna sash into him. I think he might try to beads. Doesn't look like he's going to. I'm probably gonna die when I come down because of the Neath ulti. I did, but we do kill the Agni. We should also kill the Ymir off this. Force a lot of actives, shells, all sorts of stuff. That's a really, really good trade for us. So now we're gonna get the Transcendence online. We're gonna get a Puri Beads, and we're gonna round it back to our Jotun's Wrath and get that work done. For our official level order on Nezha, you're grabbing your ulti whenever you can. Get your ring tossed, masked out, then 2 and 3. The official level order is 4, 1, 2, 3. The reason why you're leveling up your 2 before your 3 is all your 3 is going to be leveling up is the damage. That damage can crit, so keep in mind that your sash on Nezha can crit. Another reason to build crit on Nezha. But we level it last because our 2, when we level it up, is going to give us increased attack speed. It's going to increase the duration. It's going to reduce the cooldown. We're going to get so much efficacy from leveling the 2. So the 3 is our last ability. Once we start getting our crit online, you'll see potential sash crits. And that's when things get really interesting. Because then you can start off with a sash. That might crit them. And then you bring them up into the air with your ulti, where you're also going to be critting them. Gonna have to use my beads here to try to walk away a little bit. I'm gonna use my sash to get me out of that Ymir ulti. I'm getting Neath ultied. Unfortunately, I actually got Neath ultied out of my Nezha ulti, which isn't supposed to happen. That's just a classic Smite server bug. But we do get the ulti off, and we got rotated on by the solo laner. So that was a lot of Agni bombs, a Nike ult, a Neath ult. Ymir tried to ulti us. Once again, that's going to be a really good trade for us. We made it 1-for-1, even though they used every ulti in the game on us. One item that you'll see in a lot of Nezha builds that we may or may not pick up this game is Shield of Regrowth. It is a really good item on Nezha. Shield of Regrowth is going to give you an extra 10% CDR, which would fit in really nice with this build here. But we've got to get our crit going first. But if you want to get a defensive item on Nezha, Shield of Regrowth is your go-to. You're going to get a little bit of HP, which is nice and generically good for tankiness. But most importantly, you're going to get that bonus movement speed from your 2 on the Shield of Regrowth. Your 2 proc Shield of Regrowth. And when you combine the movement speed that you gain from your passive, from your ring toss with the Shield of Ring Growth, there's basically no way for anybody to catch up to you. So it becomes an extremely cost-efficient getaway item. I'm gonna use my, once again, I guess I'm not going to because Smite servers, man, holy. I was going to use my ultimate right there as a getaway skill, but I once again got CC'd out of my CC immune ultimate. Smite servers are excellent. So we're gonna start going into a Deathbringer. On ZHA, you don't get Rage. He's not like a Hunter where you're gonna be building Rage as your first crit item all the time. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be getting ourselves a Deathbringer and a Malice, which is going to give us a good amount of crit chance, about 50%. Then you factor in your 2 with an extra 15. You got a 65% crit chance. Malice is going to throw us into that 40% cooldown range. So we've got max CDR. In Deathbringer, that bonus passive critical bonus does apply to our Sash. It does apply to our ultimate. So it's really going to increase our damage numbers. For matchups on ZHA that you want to go against and don't want to go against, ZHA hates going against gods with cleanses. It really messes him up. So gods like Hel, Geb, Khepri, anybody that can cleanse your CC is very problematic because you can cleanse ZHA ultimate. This ability is beadsable. There is a small window in between when you use it and when you actually get launched in the air, where a Geb shield can take you out of it, a Khepri ult, a Hal 2, or generically just being CC immune before the ability will also stop it from taking you in the air. So gods that have a lot of cleanses tend to be very problematic. Agni is dashed in the backline. I'm going to go in on him. Little Sash. I'm going to follow that with an ulti on the Nemesis. I should be able to hopefully avoid that Ymir ulti as well. Got my beads at the ready just in case. I'm going to use my ring toss on the creeps to make sure that I don't miss like that Sash. I can pop my beads now for the Ymir ulti. He's going to go down, no problemo. Ring toss coming back up once again. Gonna try to use it on the creeps. Comes back, hits him. Follow up with a nice easy Sash here, and we should be able to put him down and grab that kill. So do be careful going against cleanses on ZHA. Otherwise, for gods that you do like to go against, the obvious is anybody that doesn't have a getaway skill. You've got a lot of capability to catch up to people. Between your ring toss slow, your bonus movement speed, your Sash stun, your ulti grab, you've got all sorts of way to catch up to people. So a god that has no escape skill is easy peasy kills for ZHA, as well as gods that have very small movement ability. Somebody like Vulcan with his backfire, not far enough to get away from a ZHA. Also, his turret becomes a deficit because you can ring bounce off of his turret, and that can really wreck him as well. Oleron, who doesn't have a getaway skill, don't matter. Anybody that falls into that vicinity, super easy for you. Right in the middle of the line is going to be gods with jumps. The one thing you can't do on ZHA is really get around walls fast. The only thing you're going to have to do that is your blink. So a god like Ymir is also pretty decent against ZHA because he can stop me from following up and really getting any damage off.
It's your turn to die.
I don't have anything that gets through walls. I'm going to do a little blink or ring toss here, try to get some bonus damage off, help out the boys. I'm going to interrupt that Nike combo so she can't get her one off anymore. I want to keep helping out with this fight, but I do have to be quite careful. Thoth also needed to be quite careful right there. I'm going to back up after this wave, get my Deathbringer online. It's really going to help out with my damage numbers. These Ymir walls are quite annoying, let me tell you. Okay, let's back up, get the Deathbringer. One area where ZHA also thrives is much like Mercury. He is insanely good at burning the objectives, that being Gold Fury, Pyromancer, Fire Giant. Because he's got this crit built into his kit, he has bonus attack speed built into his kit. When you build power and crit on top of that, you're going to be swinging, not uncommonly, for you to get crits over 1,000 damage, particularly on things like jungle camps. Great example there, Smite, with a 1,700 crit. Not uncommon at all. This means that your ability to burn down Gold Fury and Fire Giant before enemies get there is really high. So when you're playing ZHA, keep your eyes on the objectives. They're pretty much viable for you to kill at any time during the game. I'm going to go over towards the Fire Giant, speak of it, throw down a Sentry Ward. I'm going to start up this Pyromancer really quick. I'm going to switch myself over onto Nike. Going to get rid of this ward, and I'm going to head back over to the Pyromancer. Pop my 2, which is going to give me a nice little heal. I'm going to ring toss off of this just in case the enemy is in range. They are not. There is a Nem in the background. I'm going to try to get back to him. Unfortunately, the Agni is going to dash in very aggressively and come back onto your boy. Thought they was going to be able to get out, though, so that's nice. Oh my gosh, Thought's got to get a kill because the Nem is so crazy. Oh, so close. All right, so we got the Deathbringer online. We're getting aggressed on pretty dang hard. So what we're going to do here is instead of going over to Malice as a more aggressive crit option, we're going to revert back and we're going to pick up that Shield of Regrowth. Going to give us just a little bit more movement speed, a little bit more tankiness. We've got Neath ulti to bunch this game. We're getting Ymir walled off. We're getting a lot of focus. So we're going to play into the fact that we're getting focused. We're going to grab that Shield of Regrowth, which is going to help us stay alive. Make sure that in these team fights, we're at least getting our ultimates off to help set up our Thoth.
You're on fire!
Speaking of team fights, your job on ZHA in these team fights is that of a typical assassin role. You're going to be getting into the back line any way you can, whether that means blinking over a wall, whether it means sashing onto a squishy, no matter how you get there. And then you're going to be focusing down whoever their highest damage, squishiest target is. For me this game, that means my main targets are going to be Neath and Agni. Those are the two that I'm looking at more than anything else. I want to try to get back there and bring them out of a fight. Towards the later stages of the game, a Sash ultimate combo will be a 100-0 on squishies. One tidbit on ZHA that you should know is that if you sash somebody, particularly toward the late stages of the game, they're almost always going to beads. And if you sash and then immediately ulti, that means that you're going to basically waste your ult, and now you're also going to be in a bad position because you used all of your movement in order to get into a fight. Holy cow, Nemesis dashed right in front of me, so I'm going to smash that ulti on him, and he's going to get put down into the floor. Goodbye, Nemesis. I'm looking towards this Neath on the right-hand side. I'm going to blink in, try to force his dash off of that. It does. Now I can sash right towards him and grab a kill. So instead of sashing him right away, I blink in towards him, try to force a little action. And that way I can catch him after his backflip. So sometimes what you want to do is instead of just sashing, and immediately ulting, when you get the setup, sometimes you want to go in, you want to sash, wait for them to beads, just force their beads, and then afterwards you can either ulti a different target or wait for them and their beads to be down and then go and ulti them. So a great thing to do, let's say hypothetically, Neath and Agni are standing by each other at the back of a fight. I sash in on the Neath, all right? I sash in on the Neath, but then I immediately turn and I ulti the Agni. So that way I force the Neath beads and I also catch the Agni unaware, and I take the Agni out of the team fight as well. Even if I don't 100-0 him, he's still out of that fight for 4 seconds. This next little tidbit won't necessarily be relevant in your casual and ranked games, but it's a fun little ZHA tidbit. For a long time in Smite, and to this day, in competitive play, sometimes ZHA ulti is actually not used for its pure damage purposes. A strategy often used in SPL over the years is to ZHA ulti the enemy shot caller regardless of what role they are, in order to take the shot caller out of the fight for 4 seconds, hopefully allowing the rest of your team to win the fight while the other team doesn't have the person calling the shots. This was very often used back in our SPL days. I'm sure it is still used to that effect as well. Nothing like taking out their shot caller for 4 seconds, which is an eternity in a competitive team fight. Doesn't really matter for you when you're solo queuing, but just a fun little ZHA tidbit. Now we're gonna back up. We're gonna get ourselves that Shield of Regrowth. We're gonna sell our Assassin's Blessing, and we can start working into that Malice. So when we get this Malice online, we are going to be overcapped on CDR. You can see that with Jotun's Wrath, Transcendent, Shield of Regrowth, we're at 40% CDR right now. So that Malice will overcap us by another 10%. Doesn't matter. At the end of the game, we're going to be selling Jotun's Wrath. You always sell Jotun's Wrath at the very end of the game. While it is a good early game item, it doesn't scale particularly well. And when we sell it to get rid of it, plus put in our red pot, then we'll be right back at that 40% CDR marker that we want to be at. So now when I pop my 2, because I've got the Shield of Regrowth completed, you can see I get that bonus movement speed. That helps me get back involved. That's going to help get our mid lane pushed up. You always want to make sure when you're getting to your Phoenix fights that you have 2 waves of minions push up so you can be shoving 2 different lanes at the same time. You got to be very careful about fighting without 2 different waves shoved up. Ymir's in the backline right now, so I can't go super aggressive on the people that I would like to go on, but there's nothing wrong with just killing what is in front of you. I'm waiting for Neith in the backline. I'm going to blink ulti. That's going to be a dead Neith. Hopefully I can follow up onto the Nike over here. Going to be able to sash him, throw down a ring toss. I got to get out of this Phoenix range because the Phoenix is on me, waiting for my 2 to come back up. I'm going to wait on my Shield of Regrowth proc down to that bottom left-hand corner to make sure that I had the bonus movement speed to catch up with the Nem if I needed to. As it turns out, did not need to. Gonna get a nice little ring toss on the Nike by bouncing it off the Titan. Once again, no reason to hit the Nike when I can hit a nice, easy Titan that I know exactly where he's going to be standing. Okay, one last little kill with all of these crits onto that Nike as we wrap up this game. So the last item that we would have been buying, of course, was that Malice. Then we would have sold our Jotun's Wrath for another, power item. Probably something with pen at that point in the game. You could see that the Nike, the Ymir were starting to become a problem, which means I was going to start needing some percent pen, so that way they were also viable targets as well at the end of the game. So something like a Titan's Bane would have been on my radar, so I could have killed more than just the squishies. Bloodforge is always a great item to keep in mind at the end of the game as well, especially on any assassin where you're basically 100% committing to a fight. And as always, Mantle of Discord is always a viable defense item on any assassin in the game if you need it towards the end of the game as that 6 slot, as that boots selling item, guys. Final little notes. Make sure that you're pairing ZHA with a big ultimate god. We had a Thoth pairing this game. It's the perfect pairing with the ZHA. You ulti, they channel their ult. Easy setup. You get the kill every single time on that combo. This also means that when you're playing ZHA, you're going to want to focus the lane that has the best follow-up for you in it. This is traditionally going to be the mid lane where those big ulti mages are played, guys. And that is our ZHA guide.